Jesse Jackson, handsome brother,
Mm-hmm.
even after the weight he lost. And I ain't mad at you, Rick. If Barack Obama had the phenotype of Rick Ross, yada, 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 with all of that, if that Negro had the phenotype, even though you laid out, if Barack Obama, with all that Harvard and Columbia pedigree and being half white and yada, 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 with all of that, if that Negro had the phenotype of trying to think of somebody, Isaac Hayes or Rick Ross,
Mm-hmm.
even after the weight loss. And I ain't mad at you, Rick. If Barack Obama had the phenotype of Rick Ross, that Negro would never have been president. So it's not even just about lineage; it's about phenotype. America ain't ready for that. So Barack Obama, is a very different sort of presentation. Important than that.
Really, really, really quick. Shout out to TDM Hip Hop channel. He was having a conversation with Travis Smiley about the significance of a black ADOS or DOS, descendant of American slave, president and politician. Of course, the Negrocrats in the mainstream media, whenever we bring this conversation up, they want to hush it and quiet it, and they don't want to hear that because many of them are colorists themselves, and the bourgeoisie, those fraternities, all that talented nonsense, talentless 10th niggas, that's what I call them. But they're already enamored by the biracial folks and mixed race kids and whatnot. We already know that. But and they want to argue us down. Even Don Lemon tried to argue the point that Kamala is not a DOS. She's not a black American. They killed Dr. Ben Carson when he made that point in regards to Obama and his lineage and his upbringing in the country or whatever. But anyways, I think the one dude in Florida, bald black dude, he was running in 2016, had no chance. He didn't make it. He didn't even make it to the debate, like after the first debate, I think. But dark skinned black dude, I think he was not also ADOS either. I think he was an immigrant, but I think he was in Maryland, Florida, or whatever. But anyways, he was on the Breakfast Club talking, and he was saying, obviously, what politicians talking. Outside of the typical Democrat stuff I don't agree with, he was, when it comes to actual policy that would affect and impact people's lives, he was saying some shit that made sense and wasn't bad, but I'm just like, laughing like, dog, you the wrong hue. This dude up here looking like Sil, a bald head black dude, talking about, in the White House in America? Nah. But I thought that, I'm like, you the wrong hue, dog. And I've been trolling, saying it for a while, but our Democrats are colorists because their first black president that they elected is biracial. Their first vice president that they chose is biracial. See a pattern here? And then when you look at that talentless 10th and the W.E. Du Bois and all that stuff, and how many of those people had all the political power, and some of the stuff, obviously it benefited us and helped us make gains, but there's a bunch of these brothers who are half white. Of course, they were the buffer class and whatnot. We understand that. But Travis Smiley made up a better point that it's not just color and complexion and lineage, it's also phenotype. And no, America would not elect a black man who looks like me. Damn sure the Democratic Party wouldn't do that. I think the Republicans have a better chance of putting forth a big ugly black guy like Clarence Thomas and getting behind him, or Herman Cain. Like, they'll put forth someone like that if he supports their policies and their ideology, but Democrats won't. And I noticed this pattern a few years ago when Fox kept referring to, like, this is when the Mexican black chick, Stacey Dash, was on there a lot, which was whatever. But, like, they referred to her as biracial and mixed. Like, they acknowledged that she was both. They did that for several other of the hosts who were in that situation. But every time you was on MSNBC, CNN, they constantly referred to the biracial candidate or person or whoever as black. Notice that. But yeah, when it comes to lineage, that matters too. But phenotype too. I mean, in these conversations about colorism and whatnot, we over that. But it's like the women make it seem like it's not. It's a black thing. That's not a conversation to divide black men and black women over. Or, you know, black children, black men, black boys. We might process it differently. It might affect us differently, but it affects us both. How many black men lose opportunities because of their phenotype and complexion? How many? I remember years ago on the Grapevine, Carl and the other biracial dude on the show was like, yeah, just in 2017, our fraternity finally let a black person, a dark-skinned black man, be in a position of power. Like, that's not that long ago. Black men only passed the paper bag test if we could play sports. You heard that from Beyonce's dad. That's the only one he got into the college he got into. It's because he's an athlete. Outside of that, they won't let him in. But that colorism, featureism, if you want to call it that, it don't just affect black women and their beauty issues. It affects black men in their social economic issues. Like, we're not comfortable with those lips and that nose and that complexion and those facial features. But I guess how we respond to it is, it is what it is. But it's something to acknowledge. It's not like we're gonna go boo-hoo cry a river about it like the colorist chick and all these chicks online do, because they feel like they're not getting picked or chosen enough, whatever. But it affects us all. Even when you watch that, unfortunately, it came from Vlad's show, Bill Dukes, when he talked about his issues. I did not know he was the one who put forth the Dark Girls documentary. This is a black man who had his own issues, wanted to bleach his skin because of the hatred, racism, colorism that he received as a kid. But he didn't make the documentary about him or black men. He made it about black women. That's crazy. I didn't know he was the author of that, or he put it together. But and I didn't watch the first one. I listened to the second one. Does that make me a color? That was a joke I made when I did the review of it. But yeah, that's true. When you look at the point that was one of the Kennedys was having with one of the civil rights leaders, they were talking about being the first Irish American in the White House when JFK was there, and I'll put his name in the comment section. I keep forgetting his name. Oh, the brother was debating with the sister about lying to her about how he really feels and making her feel better, even though he's dealing with distress and stuff like that. But anyways, the point was, he was making a point that, if y'all keep doing the right things and keep cleaning up your act, y'all eventually will be president. This is a fifth or sixth generation black man talking to a second generation Irish Catholic, and they surpassed us. And he's telling the black man, like, if you keep up the good work, you might get here. And no, in 2008, we elected an African Kenyan white dude, half white, but we still haven't elected. Like, they even surpassed us. They skipped the line. So not only did the Irish skip the line and surpass the black man for that position, but then a biracial African Kenyan, a descendant of slave owners on both sides of his family, he skipped the line too and surpassed the DOS. It's crazy. The caucasity of this Irish immigrant, damn near, technically he was, telling a black man that been here for 5-6 generations that if you keep doing a good job and doing a good work, you might get in his office. And he was wrong, because we still haven't. Buffer class version of us did, but not the authentic one. But that's my video. I guess that's the point of the question. Are Democrats colorists? They like their black candidates biracial, or they high profile black candidates? That's why they're not gonna pick Stacey Abrams. They wasn't gonna put Stacey Abrams in the VP. We knew that wasn't gonna happen. They wasn't gonna put Val Demings up there. We knew that wasn't gonna happen. Now, I don't support any of these liberals, any of these niggas, but I'm saying they would have been a lot better than Kamala Harris. That's the funny thing. Val Demings would have been better. I guess I can say Stacey Abrams, but she hasn't done anything to prove it, so I can't even say that. But I think she probably would have still been better than Kamala in the position that she's in. All right, we out.